Ladies and gentlemen, at this time we're going to begin the service. Rabbi Evan Moffick, Cantor Jay O'Brien from Akomsala Lakeside will be officiating. We welcome those of you who are joining us via live stream. Please be sure that your phones have been turned off not to disturb the sacred funeral ceremony.
Birth is a beginning, and death a destination. And life is a journey from childhood to maturity and youth to age, from innocence to awareness and ignorance to knowing, from foolishness to discretion, and then perhaps to wisdom, from weakness to strength or strength to weakness and often back again, from health to sickness, and back, we pray, to health again. From offense to forgiveness, from loneliness to love, from joy to gratitude, from pain to compassion, from fear to faith, from defeat to defeat to defeat, until looking backward or ahead, we see that life is more than flowers that fade. It is a journey from here to life everlasting. These words, which were penned by Rabbi Alvin Fine, really express the Jewish philosophy of life and of death. And they tell us that we come here in grief, but we also come here with a measure of gratefulness. Grateful that God blessed the world with the life of Shirlee Stern. Our Jewish funeral service is fairly simple, consists of some reading, some psalms, some reflections, and concludes with the El Malei Rachamim prayer. We'll continue now with the words of the 23rd Psalm, which will then be followed by a musical piece based in part on the 23rd Psalm. If you know the words, please feel free to join me. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He guideth me in straight paths for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou hast anointed my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever.
Precious in the eyes of the Lord is the death of his faithful ones. Yakar b'nei Adonai ha'amav t'alachasidon. I lift up my eyes to the mountains, from where will my help come? Esayin el harim, me'ayin yavo ezri. My help comes from the Lord, who made heaven and earth. Ezri me'im Adonai, osei shamayim va'aretz. Precious in the eyes of the Lord is the death of his faithful ones. Yakar b'nei Adonai ha'amav t'alachasidon. Surely goodness and kindness will follow me all the days of my life. Ach tov v'chesed yedefuni kol yemei chayai, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever and ever. Nishavti bebeit Adonai leorach yamim. Precious in the eyes of the Lord is the death of his faithful ones. Yakar b'nei Adonai ha'amav t'alachasidon. Ha'amav t'alachasidon.
At the rising of the sun and in its going down, we remember them. At the rustling of the leaves and in the beauty of autumn, we remember them. At the opening of the buds and in the rebirth of spring, we remember them. At the beginning of the year and when it ends, we remember Shirlee Stern, for she is now a part of us as we remember her. When we are weary and in need of strength, we remember them. When we are lost and sick at heart, we remember them. When we have joy we crave to share, we remember them. When we have decisions that are difficult to make, we remember them. As long as we live, Shirlee too shall live, for she is now a part of us as we remember her. Now I'd like to invite up several members of the family who will share their memories.
I'm going to fall over. Okay. Oops. I've been blessed to have had my mom for 69 years. I'm greedy, though. It isn't enough. I'm not sure what life will be like without the hugs, the advice, the fun, the happiness, and the tears. Mommy, you and I have always been each other's companion and confidant. I will so miss our heartfelt conversations. I know now that I will be speaking with you in my mind and my heart because you will always be with me. I know that Bruce has always loved you, our 5 kids have always loved you, and our 8 grandchildren have always loved you. Nobody will ever forget the warmth of your love. We will be keeping your memory alive forever. I love you, Mommy. We are going to walk on with love in our hearts and we'll never walk alone. I want to start this off by apologizing to my mother. I know my hair is a mess and my makeup isn't perfect. Just had to add that in. Welcome to the celebration of my mom's life. Many of you know how much she enjoyed planning, entertaining, and decorating, which extended into what she wanted for today. Her wishes were very detailed, and she requested the absence of sadness and tears. For today, she wanted a smile to come to all of our faces when we thought about her. Although she did love a good tearjerker at the movies, I am going to try to honor that wish. I recently remembered a memory that represents how she made me feel throughout my life. At Interlochen Music Camp, I played the Red Queen in the Alice in Wonderland play, and once I said the line, "Off with your head," I immediately found my mom in the audience with a huge Mickey Mouse smile ear to ear. It made me feel like I was her biggest star, and I felt how proud she was of me. I believe she made all of us kids, grandkids, and the greats feel that they were very special too. This past Rosh Hashanah at Michael and Alyssa's house, my mother made an amazing toast, talking about good times and bad. She spoke about
her great-grandchildren's faces and feeling like she was blessed to relive moments from the generation before. She said, "Here are the faces of all our rewards." Mom's legacy and her 70 years of love for her husband and her family are her legacy.
So, Shirlee Stern, my mother, Gramalee, a beloved mother, grandmother, great-grandmother, and the heart and center of our family. Gramalee will be in our hearts forever. She was more than a matriarch. She touched the lives of 4 children, 11 grandchildren, and 16 great-grandchildren. Each one of us had a special place in her heart, and she fostered unique bonds with each of us that will endure throughout the rest of our lives. Her life was a tapestry woven with memories that include all the cherished moments that we shared together: weddings, bar mitzvahs and bat mitzvahs, birthday parties, adventurous trips to Arizona, trips to Israel, Europe, South America. She was a creative and expressive person, and she passed on those creative and artistic values to her kids, to us, her kids and her grandchildren. She instilled in us the importance of value and the value of family, and she was the common thread that brought us all together to celebrate great moments in our lives together. She also passed on the richness of our Jewish culture and our history of our humble immigrant origins from Eastern Europe. She was a totally dedicated super mother, unconditionally loved all of us and supported us in all phases of our lives. Most importantly, she taught us the importance of loving, caring, and supporting each other. My mom's generosity knew no bounds. She shared her love generously in her time. We all felt close to her and loved by her. And as her son, she was always fully supportive of my life decisions, even though she would have wanted something else. She understood what made me happy, and that was her desire for me and for all her children. She wholeheartedly welcomed my wife Lourdes into the family, and put on an amazing wedding for us 30 years ago. She and my dad, who have been married for 70 years, always have been and will be a role model for a long and happy, healthy marriage. I am forever grateful for her unconditional love and support, which has allowed me over my life to be a happy person. She was a loving mother-in-law to Lourdes, a loving grandmother to my kids, Jonathan and Gabby. We had a lot of quality time when my mom and dad lived in Arizona. They had a second home there. And they were there for the bar and bat mitzvahs and the graduations. And they even brought the rest of the family to Arizona to help us celebrate together. Despite facing the health challenges in recent years, she never changed and continued to be the wonderful, loving mother and wife she always was. Even as she battled her illness, her love remained unwavering, her heart immense and overflowing. She didn't want to leave us so soon, especially because she was worried about my dad and did not want to leave him. Though the pain of her absence weighs heavily on us, we carry forward the mosaic of her life, the stories, the laughter, the wisdom, the importance of family, the warmth of her presence and embrace, her yaha laugh, and all the wonderful, fun and wonderful stories that she left with us, and that we'll be sharing for the years to come. For when we remember her, it's in the memory of her fullness and her happiness and magnificence that we find solace. As we bid farewell, let us envision her reuniting with the loved ones who have gone before her, embracing her own parents, my Bubby Dora, my Grandpa Paul, my great-grandmother Bubby Kati, my dad's parents, Bubby Evelyn and Grandpa Art, my cousin Mark, my Uncle Irv, all the friends and family that have passed before her, and the ancestors. I'd like to believe they're watching over us, and that she'll be watching over us from a place of peace and serenity, and they'll be rooting for us to be happy and healthy. One day we'll join them and get caught up on all the news and all the gossip. But may we honor her memory by living our lives, following her example, filled with happiness, health, and the profound love like she always bestowed upon us. We will miss her forever, and it will be difficult to live our lives without her. But her spirit will be a guiding light illuminating our paths, reminding us to cherish each moment and hold dear the bond of family. Goodbye, Mom. I love you forever, and I'm grateful for everything you did for all of us, and will remember with respect and fondness all the memories you left with us. Can I say the Shema? Do they need to stand? No? Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Amen. Thank you.
Before I begin, the sadness of this is kind of hitting me now. It hasn't really hit me yet, but just seeing all the grandkids here, all 11 of us. I can't remember the last time we were all together. I mean, people have come from California, New York, Texas, North Carolina, Arizona. Jonathan ran here. I mean, it says so much. This is exactly what she would have wanted. About 8 years ago, Gramalee called me, and normally every conversation would start the same. How's Lisa? How are the boys? But this was totally different. She called me and she said, Paul, that fantasy football email you wrote where you roasted Grandpa Jerry and the cousins and your siblings and your father, that was the funniest thing I have ever read in my life. I want you to deliver my eulogy. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, are you planning on leaving us anytime soon? She's no. But when the time comes, that's what I want from you. All right, so she wants me to roast her. And when she got sick about a month and a half ago, I had to start thinking about this and actually envisioning this. You know, Gramalee, you're here, but you're not here to laugh at these things. So I'm not going to roast you. I'm going to tell some funny stories. And I'm not going to roast you the way Howard Stern roasted Joan Rivers after she died, or the way you roasted Casey after he died. Did you hear that one, Grandpa Jerry? That was for you. I'm going to make you laugh, Grandpa Jerry. For those of you who don't know who Casey was, from my earliest memories, I was 3 years old. And I remember at the Timber Ridge house, she had a dog named Casey. And by the way, when I was 3 years old, she is my age now, which is like unfathomable to me. But she had a dog named Casey, and he terrified me. And the few times I saw him, you know, I was too little. She had to lock him up when I would come over. But then when I was around 5 or 6, he died, and she had him cremated and put in basically like a Campbell's soup can with the label ripped off in her famous all caps, permanent marker handwriting, CASEY, 1974 to 1982 or whatever. And it wasn't really a Campbell's soup can. It was a little bigger. It was like more of like a chunky Campbell's soup can. And he's remained there in the shelves. And so I hope that you're reunited with Casey as well. I know you loved Casey. Whenever she would talk about her childhood, the first thing that would always come up was that she dated some guy named Stinky. She loved to tell us that. It didn't work out, thankfully. Anytime she and Grandpa Jerry would take us to a Bulls game, she would talk about how her sport was captain basketball, a sport that none of us really understand, but I think it involved, like, she was up on this platform by the hoop, and the players couldn't shoot the ball. They had to pass it to her, and she would just drop it in, and that was her claim to athletic glory, was captain basketball. My childhood at her house, on Judson especially, was everything. I looked forward to it every time. 4th of July, her Gramalee's Sandbox, which was Lake Michigan across the street. All the parties, the Hanukkah parties, Thanksgiving, whatever she had. the birthdays with Russell, playing on the piano and everybody singing. I mean, those were the best memories of my childhood. I love that. I cherish that. It was, there's no punchline to that. It was just, her house was everything. It was entertainment everywhere. It was people so joyous, and her sitting there at that one table just, hanging out with Bubby Dora, or just hanging out with whoever wanted to join her at that one brown table in the den area. I'll never forget that. That was the best. And all the tchotchkes around the house. It was like a museum. You could play with some things. You couldn't touch other things. You couldn't reach some things. But, speaking of tchotchkes, when I was about 15 or 16, Grandpa Jerry and Gramalee came back from New Orleans. And I actually had the distinct pleasure of telling Gramalee this story a week ago via FaceTime. And I got a smile out of her, which was something I'll always remember. They were in New Orleans. They came back with that usual giant bag of garbage to give everybody, New Orleans stuff. And they're handing everything out. And at the very end, I'm just expecting, some little hand drum or something like that. She takes out this giant, beautiful, tie-dyed Pink Floyd t-shirt with all the album covers on it, and I had never seen anything like it before. My jaw dropped. Where did you get that? That's amazing. She said, some guy was wearing it. What? Some guy was wearing it. I gave him $20 for it. He just took it off and gave it to me. At $20, that's like $5,000 today. She gave him $20 for it, and I'm pretty sure I could say with confidence that I wore it the next day without washing it, but I'll never forget that. In any case, I got to tell her that story last week and got a smile out of her, which was wonderful. She's the most thoughtful person. She would always ask about my friends. How's Benji, who's Ben Tater? How's Hotsy Totsy, who is Scott Gilbert? That wasn't his nickname. His nickname was Hottie Scotty. That's what the girls called him. But how's Hotsy Totsy? I'm going to skip this Vegas story. It's a little racy for a funeral, but little teaser for the Shiva if you come. I'll tell this Vegas story later. She had just the biggest heart. When I was 30, I moved to New York, and Gramalee and Grandpa Jerry came maybe 3 weeks later and visited me, and we had lunch in Times Square, or overlooking Times Square. And Gramalee says to me, Paul, what are you going to do for work out here? I said, well, I have some interviews lined up. I'm sure I'll land something. She said, would you ever consider using your journalism degree for something? And I said, not really. I've not really put that into practice at any point. And she said, well, if you change your mind, we're really good friends with the editor-in-chief of The New Yorker. I said, okay, again, I don't think I'm really qualified for anything like that, but sure, I'll take an introduction. And she said, well, she's dead. Jerry, was it 1989 she died? Thanks, Gramalee. I appreciate it. The last time I saw Gramalee was last August. I was here with Lisa and the boys, and we spent the whole week with her and Grandpa Jerry. And the very last time I saw her, we were at the place where you lived with the pool. And the boys played Rummikub with you, and they got to talk trash with you and, just have the greatest time. And she was playing hostess, which she loved to do. And then she yaha'd with Lisa for 2 hours poolside while the boys were swimming. I could not have asked for a better last time to be with her. She was so happy. She was so herself. And I'm so grateful for that. And the last thing I will say is, the elephant in the room on Sunday was that, people were trying to wish me a happy birthday, but obviously it was a very sad day. And some people were sugarcoating it and saying, well, this will connect you to her forever, as if I needed that extra, boost. So it was nice that people were trying. But the way I was thinking about it, because it was very upsetting, was back to the Russell piano thing, you know, especially in November and December. There are so many birthdays. There's Brad and Grandpa Jerry and Sophie and me and Valerie and Auntie Susan and Uncle Russell's anniversary, and we would gather around that piano, and he would, you know, bang out the, you know, in the most loudest way ever, the intro to Happy Birthday, and we would sing, and we would get to the names, and everyone would just blurt out all the names in no particular order, and I just think, you know, she wanted to be a part of that. You know, not that you would sing about, you know, that, but she just wanted to be a part of that group in that moment. So I say, this is wonderful. I'm so glad Auntie Terri mentioned that this is what she wanted, a celebration, because this is really, she got everybody together. I will forever miss you more than words can express, but you will always, always be a part of me and your grandkids and great-grandkids, and Ezra and Caleb and Lisa miss you terribly, and they're very sorry they couldn't be here, but we're all giving our love to each other and to you, and that's it. I'll miss you.
So I prepared something, but I think Paul said everything. I'm not good at this, so I'm just going to read from what I wrote. Gramalee, or G. Lee, as we called her, G. Lee, was one of a kind woman. She was talented, too. She was an artist, mother, wife, grandma, and great-grandma who would stop at nothing to give us the world. She, along with my Grandpa Jerry, would take us on fantastic vacations to restaurants, movies, and plays. And I cannot forget to mention the Disney World vacation without our parents. Robin Williams. One of the many things that we would do together was have Thursday lunches at Walker Brothers. I remember sharing her food and still ordering my own. She would tell us about her life stories, which I can't share because I took the Thursday lunch oath of secrecy, but it was always a good time. I miss those lunches, and I will always miss her. I have so many gatherings. I have so many memories of gatherings at G. Lee's house. There was food, but there was much more. There was bonding time with the cousins, and always some sort of shenanigans going on, whether it was a New Year's breaking the goose's neck and getting the money out of the savings thing, splitting the money, or it was the 4th of July and we were watching the fireworks out the great window of Judson Street. There was never a dull moment. I will cherish these times forever. Judson Street. That house was amazing. I mean, if you were hungry, there was food. If you wanted to play a game, there was the game. If you wanted to sit and talk, you can talk. And it was just amazing. And I love it. And every house that my grandparents lived in, I love. But that was the one that I remember the most. Lastly, I will always remember the big I love you that she gave me when she was in rehab, and that she told me she knew who I was. It was heartwarming and sad at the same time. I love you, Gramalee, and I always will.
Excuse me. Okay. All right, I'm not good at this either. I also just want to quickly mention the Rivershire house because no one has yet, and that's all I remember. And Sophie too, thank you. And it was wonderful and amazing as well. All of the houses, all of the memories. I wrote a poem. I speak into this, okay. And Grandpa, I will try to talk slowly for you, as you always request me to do. Okay, I'm sorry. I will try not to cry. So, I'm sorry. So relieved you are now free, our beloved Gramalee, most loved in our family. To fly with the butterflies and the bees, do not worry about Grandpa, please. We will all support your Jerry, no matter the weight we will carry. You will forever be his cookie face. Throughout your life, you showed such grace. He always thought of you, his ace, beautiful woman, covered in leopard and lace. With your blue eyeshadow and red lips, always finding a way to pinch our hips. All of your fur coats used to scare me, now provide comfort, as you can see. We will continue to remember you for all you did and all you knew. You will be forever in heart while we admire all your art. Family meant everything and nothing else mattered. That's why we all gathered. From mitzvahs to brisses, we were full of Gramalee kisses. Midnight cookies and milk won't stop us from feeling guilt. One big Jewish family you built. We all have wept for the secrets that you kept. As for our secrets you shared, we always knew it was because you cared. I think of you when I see every rose. Please forgive me while I wipe my nose. Sorry, that was a bad one. You didn't want sadness, no tears, and now we have to live life without fears. How will we exist without you? Now this will be new. From Caryn, Terri, Russell, Glenn, we all love you till the very end. You know I could be a big putz, so please look out for me, toots. Thank you.
Oh, wait. Ooh, I held it together pretty well until that, so thanks a lot, Val. Okay. Glad I'm not the only one that was using my phone to read it off of it. So, okay. The past few months, and more specifically, the past couple of weeks, have been some of the hardest of my entire life. But also at the same time, I was able to spend so much time with Gramalee. Even if it was just me sitting there singing or talking to her while I held her hand, I will cherish that time forever. I could always call her up to meet for a coffee if I needed to talk or just needed a hug. Sorry. She helped me through so many extremely hard times. She would always end our conversations reminding me to always say to myself, so what? And let things roll off of my back and to not take life too seriously. She also taught me about love. She and my grandpa are the reason I didn't settle for anyone other than someone who looks at me the way Grandpa Jerry looked at Gramalee. They were the couple I always looked up to and admired the most. She was the most generous, caring grandma anyone could ever ask for. Sorry for repeating some of the stuff. Here we go. From our lipstick-stained cheeks to our crazy family vacations to Arizona and Disney World, cousins, sleepovers, midnight snacks, seeing musicals, going birthday shopping, and our Thursday lunches at Walker Brothers, she always made sure to get the family together as well as spend quality alone time with each and every one of us. As we all grew up and created our own families, she extended her undying love to her 16 great-grandchildren as well. The fact that my children got to know her and I have pictures and stories to tell them about as they get older makes me extremely grateful. Gramalee asked me years ago to sing at her funeral. I said yes, although I could never even imagine that this day would come. I asked her how I was supposed to do that through my tears, but I promised I'd try. When I heard that she actually put it in her funeral plans, I felt beyond honored. She chose the song, so here it is for you, Gramalee, my #1 fan. Okay. remember me. Though I have to say goodbye, remember me. Don't let it make you cry, for even if I'm far away, I'll hold you in my heart. I'll sing a secret song to you each night we are apart. Remember me. Though I have to travel far, remember me. Each time you hear a sad guitar, know that I'm with you the only way that I can be. Until you're in my arms again, remember me. Love you, Grandma.
Please rise now as we continue with our concluding prayers.
רחמים שוכן ממרמים ומצי מנוחה נכונה תחת כנפי השכינה עם קרושים וטהורים כזוהר הרקיע מזהירים את נשמות של חולי עולמות בעל הרחמים יוסתיריה בסתר כנפיו לעולמים ויצרור בצרור החיים נשמתה אדוני הוא נחלתה ותנוח בשלום המשכבו ונאמר
Eternal God, full of compassion, grant perfect rest in your loving presence to our mother, wife of 70 years to Jerry, grandmother, great-grandmother, sister, loved one, friend, Shirlee Stern, who has entered eternity. O God of mercy, let her find refuge in the shadow of your wings. and may her soul be bound up in the bond of everlasting life. For you, the eternal God, are her inheritance. May she rest in peace, and let us all say, Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, following the interment, the family will be at the landing at 156 West Dundee Road in Wheeling from 3 to 7. And then the second night, tomorrow night, will be at Michael and Alissa Merar's residence. Please note, memorial contributions to the American Stroke Association would be appreciated. For those of you who are joining us via Zoom, all that information is on our website. For those of you who will be driving to the cemetery, please note the family was just, as far as the interment service, it's just for the family. So for the family who are going to the cemetery, the procession will be forming in our parking lot. Please obtain an orange safety funeral sticker to place on the right-hand side of your windshield. Have your bright lights and hazard lights on at all times. For additional measures of safety, we will be having a car in the back of the procession to hopefully keep other cars from entering the procession. Please use your horn liberally as you're going through the intersection, and please do not speak or text on your cellular phone while driving to the cemetery. The following people have been asked to serve as pallbearers for Shirlee. When I call your name, please stand next to her casket. Dr. Donald Greenberg, Bruce Wolfe, Paul Wolfe, Brad Wolfe, Jeff Merar, Mike Merar, Daniel Wolfe, and Jonathan Stern. Please rise as we escort the casket of Shirlee Stern from the chapel. Then you may return to your cars. Just going to wait here for a moment. Don, you're going to follow Doug. He's going to take care of it. Okay? Just follow right behind me, okay?
I really love so prayerful. Sit down. Absolutely.
The family comes back. Jerry, just for the record, I trained him. I trained him. Sorry. What's right there?